Oh, oh yeah, good, good, good. I got it. I got it. Good morning, people. Hi, Dalvin. Good morning. I'm so happy to see you. Yes, I'm glad this is working now. How things? Good. Yeah. Talk up in the thing if you can see me and stuff. Now I have to go back to my phone because I need to get something off this phone. Good morning, people. How y'all doing? What does story say? Oh, it shows that I'm alive and two people are on or one person. Hey, hey, we're going to do things here today. I just need to get back to this other page so I can get this thing that I want. Hi, Dawn. Girl, you're there. I wait for the people them to come in. Call your friend, call your neighbor. I'm going to call my sisters and tell them, come on this thing. Let me tell them. No. Oh, I have to tell Fern. Hello. Yeah, I'm telling my sisters, Dawn, good morning or good night. It's Mother's Day, girl. I think today is Sunday, yeah. And it's Mother's Day. I got to change out. Good. I got it. As the people coming in, how is your day so far, my people? Or your night? Or your night? Imagine this is May already, May 10th. The year is moving really, really quickly. Um, yeah, I haven't told my sisters I'm on. I need company and hey, they better come. So, Dane, where should they? I'm live on Facebook and YouTube. If nobody else don't watch me, family gotta watch me. Oh, Mother's Day down memory lane. Yes, y'all. We going there? We going there. We so going there. Mm-hmm. Forward to Dara. I send it to Dara, Marlies, and June, and Gracie, and Leonie. And where is Dara? Dara. Peter. I sent to all my family. If nobody else to support me, then God support me. Yeah. And I'm still looking for Dara. She's asleep early. So I sent to she. Yes. Yeah, Mother's Day, Mom Memory Lane. Girl, I remember cousin Ella and the lady could work so hard. You know, talking about mothers is a very touchy thing because mothers hold such great spots in our lives. Um, I always say, I don't know how people just hate the mother. I really don't. I don't know. I guess because I didn't have one for a long time. That's why. So we're gonna get the memory lane part. What you want to talk about, Don? Down memory lane. We'll be starting first. You keep that there. I'm gonna talk a little bit, and then what comes up, we'll get to that. So why I decided to do this live is, well, to be honest, I don't want to edit any videos, and I still have one section of the memory archives. Yes, thank you. But you know her better than I do. Dawn is saying that cousin Megan, which is my mother, was great. I know certain things about her, but I didn't experience her as an adult, so I really can't say. But people know her in ways that I don't. And I'm always looking for those people to remind me or to teach me. I know it's Sister Yvette there, but Sister Yvette know a whole lot about my mother. I should send this thing to her. Let me send this thing to her. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, um, like I was saying, you think about your mothers, and what brought me to this one Yeah, Don, I can bring you on the screen if you want later. So, what bring me to this thing today to talk about this? Yeah, Dale, where Dale there? Yeah, to talk about this, I'm going to share something with you that really touched me and sort of unsettled me. I got a note from a student. Yes, Don, we don't get to she just now. Don is saying she would go to my mother's house and she would make swank and buns and we sit on the floor. Yeah, that would be my mother right there. Yes. Um, I remember she used to invite these guys from the village, the Tafawas and all these guys, Woodhead and Mboya, any random time, I assume, and they would come there and beat the drums and sing and perform these cultural things. But I remember these guys would beat drums until they sweat. And she would have the swank in the calabash and the chana and whatever else and feed them. My mother was a woman of service. I remember that distinctly, and I'm sure they could speak to that. So let me get to the story, and then I'm going to talk with you guys and let you guys interact. So a student sent me a note yesterday or day before, and it unsettled me, and I'm going to share it with you to talk about why it unsettled me. And I don't think I'm going to call her name. I don't think so. I hope it doesn't come out my mouth because I didn't ask her permission to share it, but I don't think she'd mind. Um, she says, I always think of you when I talk to troubled kids. Now, she's a teacher. Now, this girl did not intend to be a teacher as far as I knew. She went to the US military. She got a bachelor's, she got a master's. She went to the US military, did medicine and things like that. And now she's a teacher at the school I taught. She said, I always think of you when I talk to troubled kids, irate parents. I'll never understand what you saw in us troubled kids like me and another student. But my heart overflows with love and hope for troubled kids because you saw us and loved us without saying those words. However, your consistency, determination, and passion to help us rise above our broken homes, betrayed, and angry hearts will never be forgotten. Het Miral Misalang. That means thank you very much in Palawan. Thank you so much for going for the underdog and not giving up on us, Miss Baird. I love you. Whew. This one, bring tears to my eyes. And I responded to her, you brought tears to my eyes. All I can say is God and God alone. Everyone carries a load. I carried a heavy one too. Palau made me whole. It was my healing place. So, if you don't know, I I grew up in Guyana. Everybody knows that. But what you might not know is that after I went to Guyana School of Agriculture and Teachers College, serving the Guyana military, paramilitary. So that made me a bona fide Guyanese and to the bone. To the bone, I served. And certain things happened. I decided I would leave Guyana and I went to a school called Caribbean Union College in Trinidad. And I had 1 year to serve the military, the national service, because every time you got higher education, you had to serve. But that year, they said they didn't have the money. But then once you get this education, you contracted to serve. Hi, Candia. And that was my out. But I needed that out. And I went to this school feeling very lost and not understanding my purpose and why I was there. And it so happened that year I met a preacher, because it was a Christian school, named Dick Barron. And he said, I was doing this at a program on a Saturday afternoon, a friend and I. And he said, don't you want to be student missionaries? We're like, what's that? He said, well, all the Adventist young people all over the world, especially North America, have a chance to go and serve in any part of the world. I'm like, any part? He said, yeah. So I always had this desire to come to Japan, but it wasn't to be so. And every time I, try to get to one of these Asian countries, it'd be gone because the North American students will grab the spots. And finally, somebody said, "How about Palau?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Never know what Palau is. You go on a map, you can't even find the place. It's a tiny, 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 tiny islands in the South Pacific. And somebody said it's beautiful. Now, I was going there to serve. I was going there to serve. But I didn't realize that a lot would have happened. You know, I was carrying a load that nobody knew I carried. So, um, but at the end of this experience, I understood that service can heal brokenness, can heal brokenness. And this brings me to it doesn't replace pain. Yeah. It's then said there's a hole that can never be filled. Um, Service doesn't replace pain, but it gives a place to go. So I was there. I wasn't a child either. I was well in my 20s, even 30, bordering on 30. And but carrying this pain, I was a miserable sour girl. I used to say to myself, I'm moody because I hated mornings and for many, many reasons. But I got to this place called Palau, and there were many people who helped me get there. Dr. Sylvan Lashley. This is a college, Caribbean Union College, which is now University of the Southern Caribbean. And I got there. But the load I was carrying has to do with mother and not having a mother. You see, by the time I was 11, my mother was gone. And to this day, I can't, as the years pass, the magnitude of that gets bigger and weightier. I am not a mother. I birthed no one. But my sisters are mothers, and I don't know how they do it, especially with the story we have. Because every time I think about my mother, I when I was 10 years old and just about to write common entrance, I don't know how the lady could close her eyes and sleep. Because things have happened to me and I will close my eyes and you get a replay. But for a mother to lose her last two children in a house fire and had to carry on with five more, I don't know how on God's green earth she could do it, because I didn't make these kids. But as I got older, to this day, I can't carry myself to that moment when it was happening. I really can't go there. I can't go there. So that was the girl who walked into that country for those kids. Pain sometimes comes from experience. Well, I think it always comes from experience. But the pain of losing a mother for us started with a witnessing of a passing. We five witnessed her. Dara was 6 years old. Six. A 6-year-old should never have to watch her mama pass away. A 10-year-old shouldn't either. But that was her lot. And I kept asking, but God, why? Why? Why us? Why not us? You know, why who? And so I started thinking about a mother's death and a mother's life. Yeah, Dane said, I wish, Dane is my sister, she's saying, I wish my children could have met their grandmother. She was phenomenal. Yep. You know, and then I ask, yes, you witnessed the passing, but you ask, is she ever gone? No, I carry her in me. I carry her in me. And sometimes you think that pain cannot transform. When I look in the mirror, I sometimes when I wear certain clothes, I see my mother. When I wear certain outfits or certain hairstyles, I see her. But if you put a picture in front of me of her, I probably wouldn't know her because somebody did. Somebody, my cousin, my Aunt Lynette, showed me a picture of my mother and father when I was in my teens or so. And I looked at them and she said, "You know who these people are?" I'm like, "No." She said, "You don't know?" I said, "Uh-uh." I look at them, didn't know them at all. And she said, "Look." And I recognized my father. Look at my brother Gavin. And then I said, "Oh, that's my mother." Didn't know her. So I wish I could get a picture. Don't have a picture of her. I don't know, the cousins have a picture somewhere. I wish I could get it. And but what I'm saying, we carry her. So I look at my sister Dane's jawline and I see my mother. I look at Dara's body, her body, her physique, and I see my mother. She got big feet. The tell she say so. I not tell she me say so. Big feet, my mother. Um, Dane says when her daughter wraps her head, she sees her. Yes. So we carry her. And we carry those hidden wounds because of circumstances into our adulthood. So I was carrying a lot of trauma. So back in the days when I was growing up, nobody go to no counselor and nothing like that. You just had to just bite it and get grit and keep going. So I remember distinctly certain changes. My mother took me to high school. Imagine I am writing common entrance when this before this fire started. The fire started, I'm taking the common entrance, the practice exam. That was when. And then the October or September, she took me to secondary school, taught me to cook rice on a kerosene, two-burner kerosene stove in my grandmother's bottom house because that's where we had to live after a nice brand new house burned down to the ground. And so I remember her taking me to school. She must have been proud to take me to school. And I'm thinking to myself, what did she see in me? What did my mother see in me? Did she see this woman I become? I know she was a woman of faith, so she must have prayed us up and down. I know she anointed us. She was a woman of prayer and all of that. And she would have seen this, which is so pivotal for me. The newspaper article carried a story. All the newspapers carried a story. And I remember seeing a picture of myself, and somebody saved it for us, and I have it. And this is a waif of a girl. My face is hardly visible, but because it's black and white. And it says, "Little Pauline, a picture of bewilderment, clutching a book she snatched from the ashes." Hello, Salima. Snatched from the ashes. To the ordinary mind, it's just a piece of book they say I had in my hand, and I don't remember it. Because the guy took the picture, the guy or the woman or whoever took the picture, and I had the book in the picture in my school uniform, the one piece of clothes on my back, the one underwear, the one shirt, and I had this book from the ashes. But when you think about something plucked from the ashes, it's not any ashes. Those ashes carried the remains of my brother, Shaka, and my sister, Horfa. That's the kind of pain I was walking through the world with. My mother gave me my love of books. Yep. So it's not surprising I'm a doctor of philosophy. I'm into books. And so with that pain, I couldn't let her down. I couldn't. Good night, baby. I couldn't let her down. So I have my notes, people. So if you look, I'm looking at this thing that I call for notes. You just can't talk like that. So when my student says, yeah, it is, you saw our brokenness, you ask yourself, what do you carry? And I'm thinking to myself that broken people see broken people. Yeah. Broken people see broken people. Yeah. So this missionary service abroad, where I went to teach third graders, oh, I had the time of my life. Oh, I enjoyed it terribly. And after that 1 year, I went back to college, finished that degree, because this degree is supposed to be for 4 years. But I had done 2 years at University of Guyana, and I had a year to spare. So I said I would give the year to God. So I want to put this point in here that sometimes brokenness can only be healed by service, giving of yourself. I didn't think it at the time, but that was how my life played out. And some people said to me, girl, you must live in the time of your life. You live all over the world and this and that. Be careful what you envy. Be careful what you envy, because I am sure nobody wants this that I went through. No, nobody should want this. No. It's not a life I would choose for myself, but it's the path I was put on very, very early in life. Very early. And so I was doing missionary service in a church school. And you would ask how? Because in Guyana, we didn't have church schools for my high school. Somewhere in the elementary school days, they changed all the schools from religious schools to secular schools. But the spiritual upbringing began at home. My mother, like I said, was a deeply spiritual person. She worshiped God. She kept the Sabbath. Yeah. Don says, hey, Don is my cousin. Don said, yes, she was proud of all her children, because when she got into conversation of her children with my mom, it was how she adored all her children. I vividly recall how she handled the death. And until this day, I asked how did she carry on? Yeah, I ask it too. Because as an adult, you understand the weight of that. Some people told me she was never herself again. Some people thought that she used to walk like she was mad. I don't give her wrong to be walking like she mad, but I never saw that. I just saw my mother. I never saw that. So I don't even know if I felt her sadness. My feeling was she had a deep resolve. She was going to go forward. She was going to go forward. She had 6 other children to live for. My older sister, Jem, who's not my father's child, and us 5, my 2 brothers and my 2 sisters and me. She had to go forward. And let me tell you, Buxton Village, big up to y'all. They fed us, they clothed us, and they protected us. Because some craziness that happens to other kids didn't happen to us. I think people left us alone to grow. They did not torment us. And when they tried, my father wasn't having it. So Diana said, I did not know the painful part of your life, but you've always been incredibly inspirational and intelligent. Thank you. Yes. Um, I hadn't talked about this story in a long, 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 long time. And I think the first time I actually wrote it down was in my dissertation. And a friend of mine was reading my dissertation. She said, I've known you all these years. I never knew this about you. I said, well, you can't know everything about everybody, because everybody carries something. And this is a very painful story. And so when I looked at this story of this death story, I learned that there's a kind of fragility that comes with understanding death and experiencing death. Yes, they said we were looked out for by the village of Buxton. Yes, Miss Booker and Miss Cannell in the market, all the market people, Miss Gwenny, they would give my grandmother 2 fish for us. Somebody gets a little beef. Oh, clothes. We got everybody clothes. We got everybody clothes. My cousin Jean, Mrs. Bosun's sister, she sent a whole box of books from England. Oh, we were reading like crazy. So Other changes that occurred. Something significant happened. Girl, good to see you again. Where you been, laugh out loud? It's long time I ain't see you. Yes, it takes a village to raise the children, literally. So when I was writing common entrance, this thing happened. Of course, everything burned up. The birth certificates and everything got burned. But I remember people got birth certificates for us, and something seminal shifted. Before 10, I was Pauline. All my cousins, Don, all of them would call me Pauline. Anybody you know me before 10, call me Pauline. Anybody knows me after 10 at school, call me Pauline. My name gained an E. So literally, this person, because of your naming, changed. So I walk the rest of my life as Pauline with an E. Yes. And so I still keep asking to say what was left. And this thing came to me that some people leave this world, but they leave themselves inside of you. So that's why you have to be careful who you encounter. And I'm proud to say, because she was and is, I am. The Ubuntu concept from Africa, because you are, I am, something like that. Yes, because of her, I am. And I'm proud to say I'm my mother's daughter. I am Megan's daughter. I'm proud to say that. She gave me spiritual grounding, like I said. She gave me boldness. And I was a shy girl. Shy. Shy, since you talk hard, I cry. Good night, Polly. Polly said she remember running from her home after hearing about the fire and the two small children lost their lives. Yeah. So it's like, I never experienced my mother as a chicken. Mm-mm. And from all appearances and from the stories I heard, she was not a woman to play with. And my students, one time I was teaching at the University of Guam, and I teach military students and everything. And one day a guy said to me, Professor, I got to give you your work because I know you're no nonsense teacher. I said, oh, I never knew that. I was a no nonsense teacher. But I thought about it and I said, you're right. And this same girl who told the story, I was no nonsense with them, but they believed that I meant it with sincerity because I was firm but kind, and I still am. Let's talk about boldness. Even though I was shy and I carried myself in the world a certain way, there is an inner strength that I directly tap from my mother. And not because of so much so what she did, but what she said. She spoke things in our presence. And I am the oldest one of the lot, the Beard lot, that I remember those stories. I don't know about your mother. But you see, my mother called it like it was. When she put on that school uniform, that she just press that feel hot on your body still. She fix your clothes, she put your ear bone. She said, no. She hold me like this in front of she stoop down. No, you're going there to school. Nobody not to beat you. Nobody to fight you. Nobody to cuff you and lick you down. They can big like a house. They can big like a car. They can big like a horse. Knock them back. Today you can't talk them thing though because they say you're violent. My mother said it. You for knock them back. Now, little skinny, little bitty me, since you talk, me crying here. And listen, when you see me cry, it's ugly cry, me can't talk. Me can't talk. No. But the day when the rubber read the rope, and she said, you gotta fight for your brothers and sisters, now come tell me somebody beat up your brother and sister because I'm not gonna beat you. You got to fight. You must love each other, and we tight. We are tight. I call my sister and Dylan Dara every day. If they don't call me call them. Every day. What we got to talk about, God knows. Plenty things I have to talk about. So she gave me that boldness that says no one to take advantage of me, only I can allow it. And I've been in places with people of high positions, and I've said to them, no, no. My mother said, you can be big like a house, you can be big like a horse, you can be big like a cow. I am not to take it. I walked away from a job because of that, because I saw disadvantage. So when you go through that pain, you develop a resolve. And I've done things I probably shouldn't have done because of that boldness. I tell you, when I've been to GSA, they tell you got to eat at lunchtime. They force you to eat, and I wasn't much of an eater. And I couldn't eat, a very picky eater, and I couldn't eat. And so I was taking the food back to the dorm, and this professor, Mr. Nichols, or I think was his name, he saw me with the food and he said, take that back. And I'm thinking, I'm taking back nothing. I told him I'm going to eat it later. He said, take it back. Guess what I do? I take it and dump it in the trash. Right in front of the man. I may have to apologize for that because I was rude and wrong. But I knew what I wanted and why, and he wouldn't listen. Dawn said she's got the ugly cry. It's the ugly cry. Yes. So I've heard my mother talk about her stories. And when you tell certain stories in front of your children, you shape who they are. So I believe in storytelling. Talk about your stories. Talk about your experiences, because children grow from that. And I know it because my niece demonstrated that. Dane's daughter, she sent her to Guyana with Dion from Our Story Got Melody. And she was down there in Guyana. And Dion decided that she would take my niece to the village to see her grandfather. But when they got to the village, I told the story, but I'm telling it again. When they got to the village, they stop and ask somebody where they can find Mr. Beard house. And the people say, which Beard? Front, back, or middle? Well, if you don't know the village, you don't know the front, you're going to be like back. So Denise said, I don't know. So they asking, which Beard? And then my niece said something, which I'm so proud of my sister for. She said, my mom told me when they were little, their house burned. And they said, oh, Buddy Beard, let me carry you to him. And they took her to her grandfather, and he said to her, how you find me? This American kid, how you come and find me? The story took her home. The story took her home. And I believe in the power of stories because stories cannot be unheard. Once they're told, they cannot be unheard. You hear a story, you hear it, you got to carry it. And you got to do what you will with it. And so the stories carry us in the world, and we carry our people, our mothers especially, with us. She gave me a sense of resilience. I can bend under strain, but not break. Not break. Knock wood, I haven't had an experience that broke me yet. You bend and you hurt and you get up and go. And that brings me to the next part. That this student said, your determination and passion helped us rise against above our broken homes and betrayed angry hearts. Oh, I've been there. I've been there. Betrayed. There are people who made promises to you, or people who should have honored promises because of their position in your life and didn't. And you have to forgive them. And what happened there is that you carry hidden hurts and pains while still functioning. You know, people talk about functional addicts. They on their thing, but then they can still carry the world. It's like you're sort of duplicitous. You present as this person, But underneath, there's a lot of brokenness happening. And the students couldn't see that at the time. But this is an adult woman now. She's not a child. She's probably in her 40s. Um, and she's a mother herself. But when people betray you, it teaches you caution. It teaches you caution. And so when a mother leaves, what kind of hole does she, then said it leaves a hole that never gets filled. What kind of hole is given? Because people could talk about their mothers in their lives right now, alive and stuff like that. They don't have to think about leaving. You know why they don't? Because mothers are immortal. Yeah. Because when people have their real life mother, they say, they treat her any old how. She call in and answer. They ask them for this and that, this, they might take them time for go because as far as they're concerned, them the mama will live forever. Well, I got the news to tell you. My mother don't live forever. She's live on in me. Because we think we have time. We think we have time. But time is not ours, So that brings me to that. So on the issue of betrayal, I think we can be complicit in our own situations and I think betrayal happens a lot when you have expectations of people. So you have to own some of that. I have to own some of that. Why would you give away your whole heart, mind, consciousness to other people? You're in charge of yourself. You're in charge of yourself. And that's another thing my mother used to say, go and come alone. She didn't want you to bring no company there. And I could not understand why this woman did say that, but we were obedient. I think she was teaching us singleness of mind and singleness of purpose. And those are very, very important things to walk this world. And I see it every day because there's a social media. Everybody's telling everybody what to do. I don't even know if I were a child what I would have done with that, So becoming a teacher, the betrayal spilled from betrayal, the teacher, because I remember feeling so betrayed by one of my teachers, so betrayed. Because I looked up to this guy. He was like the best teacher in the world. And then I show up to be a teacher. Man tell me, say I'm in a college material. Man look me. I said, did it say, man? And even that he said it, how he say it. And he was insistent. He was insistent. He meant it. And I'm saying, oh my God, this man. Yeah. And yeah, so there are people who betrayed you because you don't hold all the cards. So here is my girl saying, betrayed and angry hearts will never be forgotten. She doesn't know that I know this story. I've lived this story. I know this movie goes. Yeah. But in becoming a teacher, I understood service. And in service, I discovered purpose. Purpose in service. These students were my purpose. And I enjoy doing it. And in doing so, it changed me because I was going there as this student missionary for change, to make a difference and to create change. But little did I know it was working on me and the change was happening in me. The people in Palau, they're brown skinned people like me and you, and many of us. And they couldn't even speak to me in their language. They used to just come and rub my skin like this. One lady ran would say, she would say, hey Adele. And she would just rub and say this thing in Palau. And I don't know what she was saying, but she would just she reminded me of my grandmother. Yeah. So in that space, having left with my broken baggage inside carrying it, I found healing through service. And it was like a rebuilding. So I have many people to thank for that. I have Dr. Sylvan Lashley, who was at the Caribbean Union College, who believed in me. Because when I was getting the no's, that's another thing. Life said many, many no's to me. That's a no. No, 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 no. And doors were closing. A man said no. People make promise to you, betray you, and go marry somebody else. Oh yes, I've been there. Yes. So there are people who would say yes. And I remember when all these positions I wanted were disappearing, I told Dr. Lashley, I said, what did I say to him? I said, if I get an opportunity, don't stand in my way. And he didn't. Don said, that hole my mother left in me cannot be filled. It feels like a tree that's lost its root. I cannot continue to pray. I continue to pray that the lost roots that I had, that the lost roots that had the season for me. Yeah. And so Mother's Day is not just a time of happiness for some people, but a time of reflection. And I'm sure that our stories can teach other people a lot of things, or at least give them a moment to reflect. So my mother gave me more than memories. Like Don was saying, let's go down memory lane. Gave me more than memories. My mother's story gave me the ability, or gave me the ability to recognize pain and still choose gentleness. Because when I, even when I'm here in Japan and I deal with people, when I walk into the office, I look at people and I say to myself, what pain are they carrying? What heaviness are they carrying? Sometimes I feel like maybe if you just poke them with this little finger, they will topple over. Because there are many times when I felt like that. So it helps me to look at people with empathy, knowing that we all wear masks. We as humans, we wear masks. And if you could be experiencing this, who says another person is experiencing that? And so I look at bullies and I pity them. I look at people who make these are people who make pronouncements on my life, who say things, who have said things to me, and I just things that would fighting words, yeah, that I decided I'm not going to respond to because I'm not going to dignify it. No, because I see you. I see you. I know you because I know me. You carry some things, and a lot of times has nothing to do with me. It got to do with you. Yeah. I met people who want to beat me down. Once met this one guy who was telling my whole story. Oh, I was the best thing since sliced bread. Oh, girl, you this, you that, you that. I never believed as a woman like you, blah, 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 blah. All the nice things, all the fancy things. And one day, I don't know what he's telling me, but I guess I wasn't given the right answer. And the guy said, Pauline, I cannot believe with all your accomplishments, you're so negative. And I said, well, I'm a mother's daughter. I know who I am. You can't come tell me who I am. Me know me. Me and me can pick me. So I said to him, if that's the way you experience me, then that's the way you experience me. But people have called me everything in the book but negative. As I've asked my friends, I asked my friends, how do you see me? I asked my cousins, they told me how they saw me so I could get a reflection of how I'm projected out there, how I project myself in the world. I said, negative didn't come. I'm sure I have negative moments, but negative, no. So I don't own that. That's you. If that's the way you experience me, then I have nothing to say. I'm not defending it. Oh, yes, classic Don, you call it. But I didn't know what I was dealing with. I didn't. But so it puzzled me. I became very curious. Who are you? Who talks like this? And so, classic narcissist. So I didn't honor it. And that person came back and said, you know what? I'm surprised at the way you responded. Hey, Jocelyn. Said, I'm surprised that you didn't cuss me out because I'm a Bostonian. I'm not a cussing person. In general, I'm not warlike, but I'm Bostonian. Yes, I can be all them things Bostonian be. But I didn't. I chose not to go there because when you know who you are, you don't have to dignify every accusation or any whatever. And according to my sister Dara, should have said, tell them, thou hast said. So he said, Pauline, you're negative. You just go to wrong and say, thou hast said. So I give you permission to go use it. People say this is another. Thou hast said. Are you say? Not me say. Yeah. So that I choose gentleness. That same person told me something and I spoke the truth and he said, Pauline, you don't have to be so frank. You don't have to be frank. Where you want me to be? I'm not lying. Who will beat me? Me not tell lie. Me talk the truth. Me not lie. Me tell you as it is when the time is right. Because sometimes I got to choose when I'm going to tell you the truth. If I ain't tell you the truth, it's because I ain't ready yet. I give you a long rope. And then if I have to, if you push me, I will tell you. So you say I didn't have to tell the truth. Well, when I tell lie, me a big woman who will beat me. When you're a little probably me tell lie because I'm frightened by beat me. But no, no. So those are the things my mother gave me. And when I talked about the student story, what she said. And for those of you who are late to the live, like Joycelyn and a couple of others, I started out by talking about how a student sent me a note on Facebook telling me what how they felt about me and what I did for them. So I realized that yes, you have a lot of pain going through, and I made some notes about how I processed that. And I said, well, watching death is a process of this life because none of us live in this world alive. None of us say we're not really alive. So at age of 10 going on 11 thereabout, you watch your mother die. We all five watching this thing happen. And it's something that you should not have to watch, but you you watch it. And I've watched other people die and hold their hand and thought it was a privilege to be there in that moment. And you would hope that someone's going to be there for you in that moment. But we were scared kids. We were very, very scared because we didn't know that that was death. We don't know what we were watching until she died. I'm talking about my mom. So I learned that in death is a fragility. You're a witness to it. Life has a fragility to it. And no mother is immortal, even though people think their mothers are immortal. So they treat them any old how. They don't answer them. They do all the gods enough. And betrayal taught me caution. And teaching turn taught me about the return. So what y'all got to say? Have you ever realized that your pain shaped you? So let me talk the thing. Dan said I go down the mother road. So what has motherhood taught you, or how does your mother's influence carry you in this world? Yeah, I'll type the thing and talk the thing. I've been talking this last how many minutes? I can't see it. 40 something minutes. Yeah, 50 minutes. Yeah. We can come off of here. Yep. Or did motherhood heal you or anything like that? For those of you who don't have children, was motherhood, how did motherhood play out in your life? I see some guys on here, they got mother. hmm So I'm not seeing anything here. Like, yeah, I got to sleep. Yep. Hi, Kayla Dane. How are you? I didn't realize Kayla Dane was on here. Yes. So, Don wanted to go down memory lane. Don, tell me about your mother. Safety net. Yeah. What do you mean by safety net, Don? Mothers are safety net, or have you become a safety net for others? How does that work? And there's some people who are not mothers, but they are other mothers. Like, I'm not a mother. I carried no one in my womb. And I was thinking this morning, why aren't I a mother? I had plans to be a mother. I had plans early in my young adulthood to be married and have children and stuff. But that wasn't what life had for me because number one, before that I didn't want to be a baby mama. Hats off to the people who were no aspersions here. Because a lot of village life, people end up being baby mothers. And I didn't want that for myself. My sisters and I vowed we'd never be that, you know, because I couldn't do it. After you don't have a mother, what are you going and do this thing for, you know? Ah, Don said she and her mother spoke about everything. Don, you're lucky, You are so lucky because they are children nowadays. I say they're suffering from the disease called youth. They want nothing to do with their mothers. Their mother don't. They don't want anything. Their mother don't know anything about them. They're like secret order. So there is not. Don, let me ask you, or to anybody, when do you remember the time when you and your mother became close? Because a mother and a daughter are not friends. They say mothers and parents and children are friends, and keep it that way. But when did it begin that you could talk to her about anything? And how did that unconditional love play out? Because I never got to that place where I could talk to my mother about anything because I was still a child, you know? I don't remember much of a dialogue with my mother. She was just mother. Is it when when did that change happen that you can just talk about everything? When you're adult, or from childhood? I should have got my friend Cheryl on here because she got a lot to say about these stories. Oh, okay. She would say we're not friends, but I am here to speak. Ah, I see. So you can have an exchange. And she could listen to you and you could listen to her. I've seen people be really close with their moms that they could have conversations about anything, but I don't know if I observed that in childhood. The mothers I knew, my friends had, oh la la, them mother that was backlocks. Yeah, the mothers didn't play. Oh my gosh. So you challenge a lady and everything, but maybe if she were here, she probably wouldn't say. that you could talk to her about anything. Maybe she see you, maybe she sees as a difficult child. Who knows? But it's kind of interesting what perspective does. Yeah. But I think that when you have these perspectives and so on, you now go out in the world and handle people differently. But back to this whole pain story. Sarah, do I teach at UOG? Did I teach you at UOG? Maybe I did. Hi. I see the name, but I don't know the face. I had my student from UOG is on here. Good to see you. How did you find me? So I'm in Japan now. I'm a professor here, but I still have a house in Guam. Oh my God. Oh, EN 111 research class. Good for you. Good for you. I remember most of my students, so if I see your face, I know exactly who you are. Dawn said, I saw one of the cows butt her when I came home on lunch break. I thought she would have died. Oh my gosh. You see, that right there is enough to straighten up your head. Sarah, we're talking about mothers and motherhood and how what our experiences are and how we carry pain and stuff like that. And I'm basing it based on what a student sent to me. I got a letter from a student, and I was reading what she said about my impact on her life. Yeah. So we're talking about how we walk the world, and how we carry our mothers with us. I used to have students in high school who used to complain to me about their mothers. They're so bitter about their mothers, and they find their mothers the worst thing ever. And their mother don't want them to do this and that and the other. And I said, listen to me. You see that mother you're complaining about? Maybe when she looks at you, she sees herself, and she knows the journey she's been on, and she's trying to help you avoid those pitfalls. So go back and listen to your mother until you can do your own life by yourself, because mothers have experiences. And I think because when you're adult, you have hindsight, and you can see how the road can be, how life's journey can be. You want to intervene, and you want to make things better. But I don't know if purpose is setting out to do that does more harm than good, because a lot of these students were rebelling, you know, against their parents, and they had really, really, you know, strong impacts in their lives based on adult decisions and adult circumstances. But all I know is that your circumstances don't have to break you. What do you guys think about this whole notion of hurt people hurt people? Because here I was with my pain. I'm trying to think who I hurt. I think I did. I think I did, because my tongue was sharp. I would say things to people at that time. I've been told, and I had to own it. So it's not all innocence, you know? It's not all innocence. Yeah. So I think I will end it here so I can go and get other things done. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening. If there's nothing else, I'm trying, like, this thing stuck. Ooh, 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 ooh. The page was unresponsive. Ooh, ooh. What do I do now? The Wi-Fi is broken.